What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 37 of The Road to Glory with FC United of Manchester. This is just going to be the kind of end of season review for the 2015-16 season. Of course, our first and last season in League 2, hopefully, which was a really good season for us, as well as the introduction to next season, talking through my summer actions, that kind of stuff. The last time I did one of these videos, it borderlined on 30 minutes long, and I want to get it done quicker than that. So we'll just see how we get on here. Just a quick look at the league table to start with. Ourselves, Wycombe, Gillingham and Northampton going up. No real surprises there. Maybe the biggest surprise in the league table, with the exception of ourselves, is Chester finishing 4th. Of course, we overtook them on the last game of the season. They actually lost to Wrexham in the playoff semi-finals, and then Northampton won the playoff final against Wrexham 3-1. So, in terms of the actual league performance with the guys, it's been one of those topsy-turvy seasons again for us. I mean, if you look at our past positions, we were 22nd after 9 games, and although I was probably a bit worried, we went on this little kind of resurgence of form midway through. And unlike last year, where we just kind of kept the run of form going and going and going, we really had a rotting patch in the middle where players' confidence got high, and then it was just completely shot down by 4 or 5 fixtures in a row. At which point, I changed the tactics. Key players like Montgomery came back. I then reverted back to a slightly more familiar style. And all in all, it all kind of just fell into place for us, so to say. So, if I just show you the fixtures, you can see how we had an okay start. We won the first game of the season 2-1 away at 2-1 away to Northampton, who have gone up with us this year as well. So, if that was kind of any indication of our kind of standard, you could kind of argue that from the start of the season we've definitely had enough quality to beat some of the top teams in our league. But as we go through these fixtures, you'll see how we slowly went on a little losing patch. Very slow to start. That's something that seems to happen every season and has done for the last 2 pretty majorly. We get maybe 1 or 2 wins in the first 10, which just simply isn't good enough. From there, though, we did start to get a few results, and that was that point where I was kind of thinking there might be some kind of resurgence by the team. However, this got immediately shut down by 3 out of 4 games being lost in this chunk here, one of which was in the FA Cup. We then got a few more results, and I'm like, yes, we still got a chance here. And then 5 defeats in 6 was really painful to take. Changed the tactics, went back to a more kind of familiar style, having changed them after the earlier dodgy patch here. And it worked for us. Andy Montgomery coming back from injury, players just kind of clicking and working together, and in the end we were able to make that late storm up the table to finish 3rd. So that was that. Let's just have a quick look at the player tables, and then I'll look at some of the team stats. So we've got a few players who appear here and there. So on the average ratings front, Glenn Stewart, the Northern Irish centre-back for us, fantastic player, insanely good for his age. He's developed again very well along this year. I mean, so far in his career he's averaging a rating of 7.28 in 100 league games. And last season alone he got an average rating of 7.56 across 42 games. This guy is one of the reasons why we went up this year, and one of the reasons why our defence was one of the best in the league. We've then got Glenn Stewart and Ryan Doble on the total wins mark. I mean, the fact that Ryan Doble in this division is still bashing in goals is something really special. I'm a bit worried when we go up to League 2 he's not going to be able to kind of handle it as the lone goal scorer. So we'll have to see how we get on that front. I mean, 22 goals in 40 isn't bad, but it could be better. It's one of those things where it's like, good, but must try harder. So he's been okay. We don't really feature anywhere else on the player tables. Top goal scorers in the league, James Constable was top goal scorer. I mean, he's not a bad player, he's a little old. My EAB, I highly recommend this guy as a goalkeeper for you. If you're in, anywhere from League 2 to League 1, this guy will be a good first choice goalkeeper. Very impressive player as well. So, if you need a goalkeeper, go look at that guy, because he's good. I don't think there's too much else to cover really in terms of player stats. I'll cover our players' individual performances later on. Looking at form, we are top of the home form, we are top of the away form, we are top of the home. We're top of all the forms basically. Games won in a row, 9, which is absolutely mental. That's an insane run of form. Looking at salary per year, our team has the second lowest total wage. When you look at Chester, who pay their players a lot of money, financially they may be growing too quick. That was something that I was always worried about when I came surging up these leagues, that either we wouldn't get promoted when we needed to, or I'd plough in loads of money into a squad and then they just get all greedy, and you ended up having to pay a lot of wages. I mean, looking at it, Chester are paying double the wages I am, and I'd always be concerned, just from an outsider's point of view, that they could really start to rot if they don't make any progress soon. Just in terms of struggling financially, I don't know if we can see their finances. Apparently their finances are okay, but I mean, it's just one of those things where you'd think they'd learn after their kind of struggling financially in their history, obviously under a completely different Chester name. But one of those things, I suppose, I can't sit here and kind of, I guess, judge others. In terms of average attendance this year, we've been averaging an attendance of 3,400, which isn't too shabby at all. 13th highest in the league, which is pretty impressive, to be fair. It's good for the lads. In terms of percentage, doing the attendance by capacity, we are 20th, which, although that doesn't look too good, the fact we share a ground with Bury, and we are, I guess, we are a small club and we're in a big stadium, that's always going to be something that's going to happen. What else can we look at here that's kind of interest? Oh, net transfer spend. Yeah, we spent the most money in the league quite significantly. Andy Montgomery was a player who I almost broke the club bank to get. That said, with the promotion, our finances really should start to level off soon. And I don't think the fact that we're currently in debt is going to be a problem come, I guess, a few months down the line. Looking at our board status, you can see the board are really happy with the wages in terms of the competition and club stature. All very good, as you'd expect when you've got 4 promotions back to back. Really good to see, to be fair. In terms of transfers, Richie Quinley on a free, who he got over the kind of Christmas period. He's come in. He's not the craziest player, but he's played a few, and fans seem to be quite, I guess, eager to see him play a little bit more. Perhaps something to take on board. I know on overall player performances, Glenn Stewart is just being held as a god, as is Alex Evans. 2 very, very good players. I mean, those 2 guys at the centre-back position, they will be more than adequate for League One, and I can't wait to see how they kind of make that step up. So yeah, that's that. Just a quick look over, I guess, at the player stats and stuff, because I know people kind of get interested by all this Shazam. If I go to stats and overall, is that overall for the season? Yes, it is. Okay. So on the appearances front this year, Angus Gunn leading the way. I don't think he's missed a game this year. It's not that Angus Gunn is a bad player, but I may well have to look to replace him going into League One. He hasn't really improved as much as I was hoping he would. I mean, the coach reports are still saying he could be a leading League One keeper, and that he's currently a League One goalkeeper. But I don't know. I feel like maybe they're slightly overrating him, and that's something that I would like to kind of maybe strengthen come the, I guess, next season. Top outfield appearances are held by Brian Olivian and Alex Evans this year, kind of what you'd expect. Olivian, 44 league appearances with an average rating of 7.08, and Alex Evans, the beast, Mr. Manchester, with his 44 appearances, 4 goals, 4 man of the matches, and an average rating of 7.08, which, as I've said already, is slightly down. But that guy, I mean, I got him in on a free for 4 years ago, and he's been one of the club's best players for all those years. 2 very good young players, I guess, in Billy Reid and Glenn Stewart. I say young players, I mean, although they are young, they are 2 of the best players at the club. Billy Reid is going to be going off to the European Under-19s Championships. Should be interesting to see how he fares there. Gives him a chance to boost his reputation. And then we have Glenn Stewart, the tank at the back, with his 14 marking, 12 tackling. You know, very insane stats for a player of this age. I still hold my hands up and say, you know what, I reckon this guy will be captain, or could be a very good kind of leadership role in the Northern Ireland national side. Give it 3 years when he's 21. I think he'll be playing as first choice centre back, put it that way. I guess one major shock this season was Ryan State. Now, those of you who have been long-time fans of the series will know he came in our very first season, and I gave him a half-decent contract, but he was kind of not a panic buy, but he was one of these many defenders that I had, and then he played a few, and I've kind of rotated him last season, and I didn't think he'd be playing much this year, but he has really kind of stepped up to the mark. He's not got the quality to take it to League One, I don't think. However, fair play to the guy. I mean, he spent 4 years at the club. He's done well alongside Alex Evans at the back, and Olivian's now been at the club for 2 years. Glenn Stewart's been there for 2 years. I think Angus Gunn's been here for 2 or 3 years. So it's one of these things whereby we're starting to get a real core of the team who I'm familiar with and who have been kind of here at the club a long time. So yeah, just a quick look at you. We'll go on to the club overview. That's kind of just a few players' performances individually who particularly stood out this year. If I go to my club information, we'll just take an overview of the club so you guys can see what's going on here. Chairman loves the club. We have one legend of Carl Marginson. He doesn't have a profile, so I can't view him. In terms of icons, Jerome Wright, the right winger, reserve player for us now, but a club icon nevertheless. I mean, he holds currently the club's record league appearance kind of set. I wouldn't be surprised to see Evans overtake him next year, and then maybe a few more faces come in. In terms of favourite personnel, Ryan Doble, who is assistant captain now, co-captain, whatever you want to call it, vice-captain, that is the word I was looking for. He's now a club kind of, a club favourite personnel, as is Alex Evans, kind of what you'd expect, I suppose. He's been absolutely amazing for us over the years. I'm also a club favourite personnel. We were predicted to finish bottom this league, which is kind of funny, but one of those things where I love being able to play as an underdog in all these leagues and really progress because I have the quality in regens in a squad who aren't a huge squad, don't have loads of wages, but just a core of really hard-working players. So I guess that's quite a big overview of the club. We'll just take a look at my profile for the benefit of everything, because I know people kind of like to see all the stuff. Media handling, I'm one of these people who doesn't bother with the press conferences. I know that makes me a terrible person, not being willing to click a few links at the start of every match day and then afterwards, but it's just, I don't know, I find it a bit tedious and a little boring, and it's just one of these kind of, I guess, elements of FM which I've never really thought. It's not that I don't see a point in it, it's just for me, it's not something that I'm ever interested in doing. I'm rather there doing the games, and I know it can benefit me, so I probably should do it, but hey, I'm allowed to have my own habits, I suppose. 203 games in charge, 102 games won, so that makes our win ratio just over 50%. In terms of information, I've got my Continental Pro license. Past experience is set to automatic. Reputation is now on national, which isn't too bad. What other stuff can we look at? What other stuff is there to... Oh, I suppose biography. We'll look at this. We lifted the Northern Premier League in 2013 and then secured back-to-back promotions, as you can see here, which has been fantastic to see. First venture into club, won the Blue Square Bet North Manager of the Season and was shortlisted for the Blue Square Bet Prem Manager of the Year. That was down to the Chester manager pipping me at the post for that one last season, which was a little disappointing. But yeah, that is pretty much the team. Plans for going forward, obviously, League One is a step up, but at the same time, a lot of our players are kind of players who I can imagine playing at high League One teams. I mean, if you look at our club's and team's ability, we have a pretty strong core of the team, and I think I don't want to make the mistake I made this year, bringing in one player for a lot of money. My hope is that I get given a reasonable increase in wage budget, maybe an extra 7-8k, maybe more. 10k would be ideal, to get the wage budget up to 25k, and then really look to strengthen the club by bringing in players who are out of contract or have contracts running out. Not spend too much money, because we haven't got very much money in the bank to do so, but kind of, I don't know, bringing players on free, spend smartly, be shrewd with our money, because that's what I wasn't this year, and it almost came back to bite me back, and I don't want that to happen again. So yeah, guys, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fast forward. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode so far. Lots of detail, lots of talking, lots of rambling, and I'm going to join you guys for the, I guess, first game of next season, and also we'll just cover everything that's been going on. Okay guys, so we're back, and I am so excited to show you what's gone on. I've made 5 huge, like, unbelievable signings, 2 of which are like, wow, they're the 2 players who I've brought in are going to be here for 5 years, put it that way. They're both coming in on 5-year deals, and I am buzzing to see them. Let's just go straight to the transfer centre so I can show you what I'm on about. So, just on the history front, a lot of players going out on frees again. That's one problem with going up these divisions so quick. There's just players who aren't of use to me. So there's a few players who have gone out for some money. I mean, Farsley, but John Smith to Farsley. But realistically, a lot of these players I wouldn't have been able to sell. Their contracts were running out. I didn't want to have to renew them for 1 year or half a year. So a lot of these players came in when we were in the Blue Square Bet North. Obviously, we're 2 divisions higher now. They've just not made the step up, or that I needed to get them off the wage budget, so they've gone out. So there's 3 signings here. There's 2 more which aren't going through until the end of their contracts, and they're the 2 I'm most excited about. So we'll cover these first. So there were 3 main positions where I wanted to strengthen. One was get 2 strikers in, one of which hopefully will become a leading goal scorer in the division. That was kind of one of the little things on my tick box, and the other one was to get a right back to replace State. So I got James Tarkowski. We'll go with that. Tarkowski. Wow, that's one hell of a name. Sounds like someone out of Monsters Inc. But no, this guy's come in for 60k, which is a compensation fee. From Oldham. I mean, he's proved himself at League 1 2 years ago, where he made 24 appearances. Last year he made 39 appearances for them in League 2. So hopefully he can make the step up. His stats don't particularly suit him as a right back. He is also a centre back. However, I'm going to be training his quickness up. Hopefully he can develop in that respect, and right back will be a position he can hold for at least this year. He's only 23, so there's still potential for him to improve. We've then got Matt Leconte, who is a English attacking midfielder and striker. This guy's probably going to be an attacking midfielder for us this year. Training him to play on the left wing as well. I'll come on to that in a second. But this guy, just really good physical stats, speed, physical, mental and attacking, just some useful attributes, and the kind of player who's a very solid player. He's getting paid a lot in terms of wages. However, this season we've gone up a division. Some players' wages and kind of, I guess, what they're getting paid has gone up, but I was still left with a good chunk of a good 10 or 12k wage budget free to bring in the players I wanted. And this was just one guy who I feel as if he can come in, and he's going to be playing behind the front man, who is another new signing, Shane Barney. Got this guy in on a free from MK Dons. His contract expired there at the end of the year. Snapped him straight up. I didn't want to have to pay the compensation fee that they wanted. But this guy, absolutely insane. He played for Brighton Hove Albion's academy, and then last year he went to MK Dons in League 1. 13 goals in 39 appearances. Clearly, for whatever reason, didn't impress enough to warrant another contract. I've snapped him up. He's a 19-year-old striker. Look at his finishing and his speed. They're kind of 2 stats I like to look for in a really pacey player. He may even be, dare I say it, the English Hun, so I guess only time will tell. But this guy, wow, very excited to have him. Pretty hefty wage demands. I was in competition with him from teams like Middlesbrough. However, he's come to FC United and Manchester. Really excited to have him at the club. On the outs, the only one which might confuse you is Mohamed Alipour, the left winger. He's not quite good enough for League 1 yet, but he's still only 16, so I wanted to loan him out. Rotherham United, who were wanting to play him as a first team regular, came in. I mean, Rotherham's not a bad side. They're pretty reputable, despite the fact they got relegated from the Football League last season. So hopefully he'll be able to develop there. I mean, he's got such good stats anyway. He just needs to improve his physical stats a bit. Okay, so they're the boring transfers. Let's move on to the ones which are like the ones where I am literally peeing myself over. So just a quick reminder, we have Apostolos Alexios coming in. You may remember I signed him last year and was really excited about him, and then I realised he couldn't come until he was 18 from Australia. The guy is still... I mean, he's got 14 under 21 caps at the age of 17. He's almost 18 now. At the end of the month, he'll be coming. His stats, like, I can't see how good he's going to be. So it should be quite an exciting one to see how good he ends up being when he comes. And then I think these guys might be up there with the two of the best signings I've ever made on a Football Manager save. They're both coming from Finland at the end of their contracts this year. And FC Interturku, or Turku, yeah, we'll go with Turku, who they've come from. They're a Finnish team. They play in the UEFA Cup, like the Euro Cup as I think it's now called, but I'm still living in the past when it comes to competition names. However, their contracts weren't getting renewed and they were really, really unhappy. So, as you can see, transfer listed listed by request. I don't know what was going on at their club, but basically these two guys, I mean, you can see his stats here, but when you see it like this, holy fucking Jesus poop deck. I mean, he's on £275 a week. He's a regen in Finland. He's the perfect keeper, literally. I couldn't believe this when I saw him. He's a Premier League goalkeeper. He's got 19 caps for Finland. And when I saw him, I was literally just sat there making a mess in my pants. He's insane. I mean, look at his stats. I'm buzzing to have him at the club. He comes at the start of December, so we've got to do a few months at the start of the season without these two guys. But when they come, holy poop, we could really push for the championship this year with these two guys leading the way. The other player we have is Teemu Peltari. Yeah, Teemu Peltari. We'll go with that. But this guy, holy poop. This guy, another player who was requesting to leave the club. His contract was running out. I snapped him up. He had abysmal morale. Looking at his stats, 26 appearances and 2 goals for Finland at the age of 21. He is Finland's national team vice-captain at the age of 21. 13 creativity, 17 passing, and 11 flair. I mean, wow. When I saw these guys, I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. 13 determination, 13 influence, 15 work rate, 15 first touch. This guy... Look at him. He's a leading star for any championship side. They were paying him 250 quid a week. His value was around 40k, but that's now dropped because his contract's now run out and he's coming to us. But Jesus, I mean, I don't even need to scout these guys to know they're good enough to play for us. So when these two guys come in December, I expect to see us rocket straight up the league with them at the helm. Like, I can't quite believe I've got them. And if you're in League One or the Championship, I just recommend you go and try and see if you can get anyone from Finland, because wow, well, as I've shown, there's some serious talent to be found. But anyway, that is it for the transfers. Only 5 guys coming in. Obviously the 2 Finnish guys, and then of course Bernie, LeConte, and Tarkowski. Should be interesting to see how we do this season. My aim is mid-table, I've told the board. However, realistically, it's funny because League 1, the gap between a top-end League 2 team and a top-end League 1 team, there's not a lot in it, and it's up to our players to perform well. I mean, we've not got very much strength and depth because I've really tried to slash the wage budget to bring in a few bigger players rather than having a team full of average, non-league players, which is why there were so many players going out on frees. I've got to get in the habit of selling players now. We're in League 1. It's really kind of the league where players start to develop a value of significant money and the kind of money that you have to kind of, I guess, look at seriously. So that's something I guess to strive for, to start selling players, because if you've been watching this series for a while, you may have noticed that I don't sell enough players, and I know I don't do it. However, sometimes it's just easier for a player who's not going to be in the first team, and I have no intention of playing, just to let him go when his contract ends. I know some people are sat there going, just renew his contract and sell him. It's just not the way I do it. It's just not the way I do things. So yeah, Angus Gunn will of course be replaced when the new keeper comes in. I'll have to rejig around the midfield. I think it's going to be Montgomery moving into centre attacking mid instead of Doble, and then I'll slot in the Finnish midfielder in the centre alongside John Carson. So yeah, we'll see how we get on today here. Should be interesting. You can really see how we lack strength and depth, but I'm hoping we can just stay injury free and hoping that some of our best players just don't get injured. That's kind of, I guess, a main aim for us. So let's crack on straight into today's game. It is against Tranmere Rovers away, so not an easy fixture by any stretch of the imagination. Common sense is telling me Jack play counter-attack against these guys. However, my head wants to just see how we do playing attackingly against this kind of side. So let's just try this, see how we get on. Debuts for Barney, LeConte and Tarkowski on the right back position. But very much the same core of the team is there, and it'll be interesting to see how well the team kind of perform as we progress this season, because as I've said, the gap isn't that big between the like a top League 2 team and a top League 1 team. Like that, this league is so close that anyone can beat anyone on any given day, and it's going to be up to us to see if we can just get a run of form going. We are one of these teams where it seems like we play with a lot of confidence, and when we have a fully fit team and we win and our morale's high, we just like nothing's going to stop us, and we just steamroll any team in the leagues we're in. I have also let a few other staff contracts run out. There was a number of staff members who were here from when I first came to the club who just aren't good enough. Obviously, being the league below the Bet North and Bet South, in terms of league position, there wasn't really that much stuff that I could bring in at the time. However, just letting their contracts running out, renewing the ones of use to me, and I guess, you know, just freeing up some wage budget, trying to cut spending a little bit, because finances, although they're good, our finances have really recovered now, and we are set to, I guess, not make a loss this year, which is good. Wow, I did a crap job on those team talks. But it'll just be interesting to see how we get on financially, because I do want to balance the books if possible, and I think I'm just about on track to do that, which is really good to see. But anyway, looks like the ball's coming in from them. We've cleared it, and Webster unable to apply a finish. Another corner though for them, and we're already having to withstand lots of pressure as Neymar, I don't even know, I don't want to say Neymar, but Neymar, we'll go with it, heading over the crossbar there, ball into the box, and we need to clear this and defend the set piece well, and we have done that. Really good to see us just playing really well, to be fair. I'm looking for us to really try and make a step up this year. Barney's going to be an interesting signing, because he is a young striker with plenty of potential. And Reed, you absolute beast, what a finish. What a finish. Is it Alex Reed? No, it's not Alex Reed. What on earth, man? But I can't even remember my own players' names. Billy Reed with the cheeky dink there for the finish. That was insane. But no, as I was saying, our league position could really, I guess, hinge on the performance of our strikers and their ability to grab goals. I mean, if they're scoring 20 goals, if Barney gets 20 goals this year, I have faith that we could just get promoted. However, we also have to remember, that last year 4 teams went up, and this year there's only 3. And if we'd finished where we did last year, we would have only been in the playoffs, like in League 1. So we have to be aware it is going to be tough this year. However, there's a good chance, I feel, that we can really make a promotion push again, which would be 5 years in a row. If anyone's ever tried to do a surge up the table, you'll know that League 1's one of these weird ones where it can be surprisingly easy, and then other times you just don't seem to be able to get a result in this league. Get it away, good save, good clearance as well, that'll do. But no, if you've ever done a playthrough from the Bruce Square Bet North or Bet Prem, it's not too hard to get to the Championship, but the problem is, Reed again, wow, he's a beast. But no, it's hard to get from the bottom league to the champion. Well, no, it's easy to get from the bottom league to the Championship, but once you're in the Championship, you can be there for 3, 4, 5 years trying to strengthen a squad. And what I've tried to do different this kind of save is get regens who I think are going to be good enough when we reach the Championship to help us get promoted. And I feel as if the squad that I've got now, and give it 2 years in the Championship if we went up this year, I feel as if the squad is good enough to win promotion. I really do, especially with these Finnish lads coming in. I mean, they're not like ridiculously young regens, but they're young enough to develop, if that makes sense, and be Premier League players. So excited about them, excited for the future. That's something that I've really tried to do. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, but even before the break, over the summer. I didn't want to spend a lot of money, and I've really done a good job of that, I feel. But anyway, we are going to clear this, and that is surely the game, and it is indeed. Reed has been sensational. We win the game 2-0 away to Tranmere. That's a really good result, because Tranmere are no pushovers by any means in this league. So, really good team performance as well. Everyone played their part. And we're sitting pretty. Obviously, guys, first game of the season is only so much. We've got Leeds in the League Cup. I don't think I'm going to con that, just because I don't really expect us to go on a cup run. However, we have got the LDV Vans Trophy, and that's something that I'd like to do something with. Either try and win it, or just go on a little cup run in the LDV Vans, or Johnson's Paint Trophy. God, still living in the past with these competition names. But anyway, fantastic performance by the lads. Guys, I'm going to cut it off here. I'll see you at the start of the next month, which will be a game at home against MK Don. So that will be that'll be Barney's homecoming. So that should be an interesting one. As I said, smash the like button if you enjoyed, guys. This has been a pretty long episode, so if you've watched until the end, thank you so much for watching. And other than that, I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.